Hey, good afternoon. Yeah, we've been in a wintry mix here, blizzard and what have you in Kansas City. And I just want to say that this too shall pass, or it is passing. And the beautiful thing about the Chinese calendar and its energy work is that spring is February 4th. So we've got about 2 more weeks or so. And I saw a cardinal, a couple of them. And they bring in spring, that eternal energy, that red, root chakra. And cardinal means the leading or the axis, and the cardinal signs are Capricorn, which is we're in Capricorn season right now, and then Aries, the beginning of spring, and then Cancer, the beginning of summer, and Libra, the beginning of fall for the astrological seasons as well. Now, on the screen, you will see the Capricorn full moon this Monday on the 13th. And here we have in Kansas City Cancer rising, Cancer moon, Mars in Cancer, and then here's the Capricorn energy over here. Now, sitting in the middle of this, the warrior, tribal, the warrior for the family, Mars, and then the moon in Cancer suggests, our instincts and our habits, and really looking at how we might be ignorant. Hello, our raw material pillar number 4, how we might be ignorant of our conditioning, of our family patterns, of our ancestral makeup, of which the cardinal represents as well as the bird, those ancestral ties that sometimes we forget or we're ignorant of forgiving our foreparents. So when we're having challenges with our parents, we forget that they didn't just kind of hop out from the stork, that they, that they have parents as well, and the parents of the parents. And so we attempt best efforts to bring complete and perfected wise whole wisdom to our entire ancestral line. And so we've got Chiron sitting here at the very top of the chart in Aries, squaring or challenging this sun responsible Capricorn Cancer full moon on Monday the 13th. And Chiron being the wounded healer, the bridge between the future and the past. Chiron in Aries suggesting that we are all healing the wounds of our own individualism, where we go to too far of a spectrum, where we can easily become so self absorbed, so Aries wounded, that we react and ask questions later, and therefore taking everything personally, and that narcissism that it doesn't take any criticism. Or we go to the other extreme with the Aries, where you can't speak up, that you don't find your voice. So the Cancer Capricorn energy, the fourth sign in here is Libra. So we balance the ego on one scale and then the soul on the other. And one of my favorite stories about the scales of justice with Libra is that the last 18 months we've had the South Node, our ancestral genetic ties going through Libra, and it just moves it back into Virgo. Translation, favorite story is Anubis and the Egyptian goddess Ma'at, where Anubis held the feathers on one scale, and then Ma'at weighed the heart on another scale. Your emotional deeds, how you pay it forward. And in Capricorn season, we can become so transactional, so quid pro quo, that we just, we're constantly calculating what we give to what we receive, and we narrowly tailor it in between just the two parties. The lawyer part of me would say, consideration and breach of contract and best efforts and all of that. But the cosmic, heartfelt part of me, the Anubis, god of the dead, and the deeds of the heart, imagine, let's breathe. Let's imagine those feathers are our angel feathers, our wings, and so our ability to elevate ourselves while staying grounded and inclusive. Because Capricorn is a deeply, immensely spiritual sign, even though it's often misunderstood as being calculated and very Machiavellian. And it can be that. But as we age, as we come into our access that inner soul's wisdom and we heal the wounds of our individuality, we can understand Capricorn from the fact that, we've got Venus in Pisces, all absolute, loving, compassionate. We are the world Pisces. She's moving into a conjunction with Saturn, a guardian of Capricorn, and Saturn tends to teach us first through lack, through what we don't have. Where Venus, Saturn, we can lack money, we can lack resources, we can even lack the belief or the confidence in our own ability to attract resources or our own ability in our own beauty or guapissimo, our handsomeness as well. And Venus is in loving Pisces and Neptune is in Pisces until March 30th of this year. So this personal love and equilibrium and joy of Venus, along with the larger, compassionate, universal, even galactic love, multidimensional of Neptune, Saturn sitting right in the middle of that. And so, or in that energy. And so we're looking to understand how to have absolute love and self acceptance and compassion, and that's where, been doing a lot of talk about our raw material. And it's integrated fully into my life and my contemplative practice of the I Ching and Gene Keys and Tarot and astrology. So we are all of us are in our own internal civil war, between the Anubis, the feathers, are giving ourselves freely, the heart, and being able to balance those things, our ego and soul. Pluto is still just, getting his movement in early Aquarius. So it's about anything in Aquarius is about, do you want to be heard or do you want to be right? Yes. And with this exact 120-degree aspect between the sun in resourceful Capricorn with Uranus in Taurus, and then Juno, our commitment to our own inner equality and our partnerships energy, the fact that Juno and Uranus are in complementary energies from security driven Taurus and Scorpio is that we are here to learn to have an innovative, even disruptive energy to our sense of commitment to ourselves, Uranus and Taurus, and our values with the Juno, the marriage commitment asteroid. And she's even said to rule the weather on mundane levels. So the Juno and Scorpio can suggest that we do have more control, or at least more communal control around our weather. And I just found out today, doing some biblical trivia, that my mother got a game for from an estate sale, the Taurus, uh, that Elijah was a prophet that had control of the rain uh, in the Old Testament. And so there is an aspect to our understanding our relationship not only to nature, which is Gaia and Rhea, in terms of mythology, but also the sky energy of Uranus, the sky god, that inadvertently got his genitalia cut off by his son Kronos or Saturn. And when that energy fell to the ocean, Aphrodite was created. So the goddess of love and equilibrium brings in that exalted, I'm above it all sky energy, that perfected Uranian energy that we've been dealing with for about 6 years with this going through Taurus. That we just have these ideals about money and value and music and our physical bodies. And then we look at the visceral fat, or we look at, our skin, or we just have we have so much information about our imperfections. Yeah, so much information with Uranus and Taurus. Fortunately, if we work at it over these next 5 months or so, he goes into Gemini on July the 7th. So there is this ending of this reflective 6-year cycle or so of Uranus and Taurus of moving into freeing ourselves to our attachment to our physical bodies or the imperfections of our physical body through the Venusian love energy. And even though she's not in a technically a supportive aspect to this full moon, she is energetically because Pisces and Capricorn, when they're Venus and Pisces and the Capricorn energies, when they're supportive of each other, there is a sense of wholeness or completeness to the Capricorn. It's not life is a bitch and then you die, or I don't need nobody, ain't nobody kind of a thing. Hello, shocking Rufus. But Capricorn goes into I'm complete unto myself, and I want like attracts like. So I like to be connected to another whole, grown ass, mature individual. And even with the Cancer moon, Mars in Cancer retrograde, it's about complementing one's emotional needs with one's resources, what one maturely gives from a place of freedom and integrity. And then the Piscean energy, of which we got loving Venus, uh, teaching, integrity driven, mature Saturn, and then nebulous Neptune shapeshifting, but shapeshifting in an adaptable way that everyone's common good is served. And understand that with the Neptune and the North Node coming together in Pisces, what we're learning collectively is how compassion, like charity, begins at home, how we give the dignity of each individual soul. We express and embody our Mahatma, our great soul, and we see ourselves as purveyors, or if the god goddess energy is water and water is memory, let's remember, really put back together the ways that we are gods and goddesses. Tavish, co-founder of Our Raw Material, we were, having our, process conversations about Our Raw Material. And it's important that she mentioned how, the more that we see ourselves as these larger energies, whether that's cosmically holding the sun or seeing our larger galactic selves. I forget the specificity of which, her cardinal leading self with soul and ego balance mentioned it. But there is this aspect of all of us that we're here to balance our human nature, our ego geocentric nature, with our larger multidimensional God, goddess nature, or our galactic nature. And this full moon brings that home. And what I love, love, love is we got Jupiter here in Gemini, and he's being challenged by Venus in Pisces. Venus is stronger, which means she has access to more source whole energy in Pisces. Jupiter in Gemini may just over exaggerate the importance and our dependence upon our westernized logical intellect. You're not going to get to the soul through logic. Yeah, it's just not happening, people. I'm reminded of one of my favorite I Ching stories where Buddha was asking his disciples, people who were studying with him. Well, you know what the fuck disciples are. What is the essence of a water pitcher, a jug that carries water, which kind of brings in the Aquarius age that we're on the cusp of. Growing up to be individual members, mature, conscious, detached, but connected paradoxically members of our chosen community and our chosen planet here, Earth. So Buddha said, hey, what's the essence of a water pitcher? Water bearer. and all his disciples wanting to impress him, with the ego self image of I'm Buddha's disciple, gave these abstract answers, which weren't necessarily wrong, but he asked for the essence of a picture. So his cook came out of the kitchen. His name was, I think, Po Chang or something. And he just knocked the pitcher off the table, and the pitcher broke and the water spilled. Well, he was named Buddha's successor. Yeah, so the essence of truth, our soul's truth that we embody, definitely through Capricorn season, is understanding the innate cosmic harmony of us as resource, our body as resource, our mind as resource, but most importantly, our heart, our authentic intelligence as resource. And with Mars retrograde in Cancer, personal Cancer, until February 23rd this year, it's just important that these next 6 weeks be about owning your emotional reactions and tempering them into emotional responses. So just recognize that the more that we exemplify and role model and feel that all conflict starts from within. All of this can be going outside of ourselves, but it's our response to it. And Capricorn is mature, grown. Yeah, but it doesn't lose its complementary energy of the childlike and innocent and feeling Cancer side. So when you got a Capricorn person in your life, give them some abrazos, give them some hugs, all right? And thanks for listening.